Live action, guys. What is up? Dr. Pinesett here. Thank you so much for joining me. Andre, another Andre. Yes. Is this the right info at the right time? Today we're talking about academic performance anxiety. Oh my gosh, guys. It is so prevalent and it is so debilitating for so many students. That's why I want to talk to you guys about it today. And I'll leave you with one stat for you at the intro, and that is that over 40% of students express in studies that anxiety has affected their academic performance and is keeping them from being the student they want to be. So that's why this is so important. This is so pressing. And so I'm glad the first message on here is Andre saying that this is a pressing matter. Let's hit the intro and we'll get right to it. But stop making excuses. Stop whining. Stop, right? Get at it. No excuses. Just dominate. All right, guys, thank you so much for being with me today. I'm Dr. Pinesett, and as always, guys, right, I am your Premed Productivity Expert, helping you be more positive, more productive, and to reach your goals, in particular, becoming that amazing doctor, y'all. And today we're talking about the mental aspect of your journey. And if you guys don't recognize, if you guys don't realize, if you haven't been doing enough of my videos to know the significance, the importance of your mental perspective, of your mindset, of the lens that you see the world, then you don't understand. Because it is crucial that you understand that you cannot achieve academically, personally, professionally, that with which you do not believe. The belief has to happen first. We have to have our mind right, our mind working for us. It is our most powerful weapon, or it can be our most powerful enemy. And so we have to use it as a weapon and leverage it forward. Today we're talking about academic performance anxiety. This falls into a bunch of categories, but right, we have anxiety that's generalized, and then we have anxiety that's centered around your academics. Things like presentations, projects, quizzes, exams, assignments, everything that constitutes your academic journey. Are you anxious about it? Are you nervous about it? As a pre-med, you have the added layer of the anxiety of, will I get into medical school? Will I make that happen? And so it's just all this confluence of anxiety that can weigh us down and set us back. And the reason I'm doing this topic today is, if you guys don't know, I do internal coaching with my students every single week. We get on Zoom and we do individualized group coaching. So students can ask any questions they have, bring up notes, bring up their pre-med pathway, whatever's going on, and I coach them through it step by step. And we spent, I would say, maybe 45 minutes with one of my students. I'm going to call her Laura for the purposes of anonymity here on social media. But my student Laura is a student who's been with me for a while, a couple of years now. And she found me after going through 6 or 7 years of college struggles because of overwhelming anxiety. And how many of you guys feel like your anxiety gets the best of you and it slows you down, it keeps you from getting the grades you want? Let me know right now. Comment. We're live action right here, right now. So I'll wait. You guys go ahead and comment. If you're ready for this topic today, if you're excited, go ahead and like the video too. Let me know you're here with me, so I'm not alone in this room, that you are here as well. Yes. Okay. So yes, I see your comments there. Thank you. Thank you for saying yes. So my student, Laura, like I said, 6 or 7 years through college. She came on coaching last week and she was saying, hey, Dr. Pinesett, I appreciate all you've done. I've made massive improvements. I took the time off you said, and I've made a physical transformation. I made a life transformation. And one of the things she was involved with was that she had anxiety already and all the people around her weren't supporting her effectively. She came from a household where her parents put all this undue pressure on her, were telling her she couldn't reach her dream. She got married early to a husband who didn't support that, thought her place was in the home. And so she had a lot of factors working against her on top of her already anxiety. And so she actually cut some of those people out, restructured some of those relationships, and she came back fresh. And she's like, yes, my first semester back, everything was going great, but now I'm behind. And I said, well, wait a minute, what's going on? She's like, the anxiety, it's back. It's crazy. And I'm like, well, what changed? She's like, I made so many changes, but it's still here. And now I have a test tomorrow. What can I do? And as we go to talk about what's going on in her life, she says, everything was going great. I had, up even to this point, everything's going great. I have an 85% in calculus. I'm doing this in my other class. I'm doing well, but I'm just so behind. I know I'm going to bomb these finals. And I said, well, what happened? She's like, well, I was going well. And then just the anxiety crept up. And there were multiple times during the 16-week semester where I took off not one, but 2 to 3 weeks at a time where I couldn't study, I couldn't go to class because I was that overwhelmed with anxiety. And I was like, oh man, like the head under the covers type anxiety. She's like, yes. I was like, dang it. And so we started to talk about and strategize for about 45 minutes, ways that she could come out of that anxiety. And it was such a good talk, not only for her, but for all the students, right? Because you guys all suffer from it. No one will admit it, right? Because as students, we're taught we have to be perfect. We have to know everything. We forget that the point of school, the only reason we're there is to get schooled, is to learn something, is to grow, right? And so I love my community because we can all get in there and we can interact and we can be truthful and say, listen, you know what? I have anxiety too. I'm nervous about things. I get stressed about things. I get overwhelmed, and we can share ideas about what we do. And the session was so inspiring that I actually created a whole course. So I spent this weekend filming an entire course all about performance anxiety. I'm going to put a link shortly after this live stream in the description box for you guys to get it discount as a first launch. But I wanted to go through some of the things that I talk about in this course to help you guys overcome your performance anxiety. You guys ready for that? Are you guys excited for that? In this course, I talk about some of the low-hanging fruit of understanding. I feel like if there's anything in our lives that we want to attack, we want to improve, we want to modify, we have to quantify. We have to understand what it is. And so for so many of you guys as students, you just know you're stressed out. You just know you're anxious. You know you're overwhelmed, but you can't quite put your finger on the key factors that are doing it for you. And so I'm going to do several live streams about this topic to give you guys all this good information. But I wanted to start today just going through the causes, the 6 most common causes that I have found that cause students to be overly anxious, overly stressed out, and be gripping through their academic term. And for each of these 6 things, we're going to talk about some simple strategies that we can do to reverse these things. And so when I get to your cause of anxiety, when you're like, oh snap, Dr. P, you've identified my cause, go ahead and put it in the box and let me know. Okay? All right, let's get real, let's get quantified, let's get specific into your guys' anxiety. So the very first cause, and I think one of the most prominent causes of student anxiety, is unrealistic expectations and unhealthy perfectionism. Those things together. What do I mean by that? Unrealistic expectations, unhealthy perfectionism. How many guys out here struggle with that perfectionism? How many of you guys struggle, right, with unrealistic expectations? Yes, yes? Thank you. Okay, people comment. I appreciate that. So I'm not alone. We all want to dream big. I actually have a book sitting over here right now. It says the Magic of Thinking Big. And I encourage all of you guys to think big, dream big. If you want to be a doctor, that's one of the biggest, it's one of the hardest things to achieve. It's one of the biggest dreams in the world, right? And so you have to dream big in this world if you want to achieve big, obviously. But the problem is that students incorrectly put it in their mind that they have to be that expectation today, that they have to be perfect today. And so when we do that to ourselves, and we tell ourselves, listen, I've got to get all the A's, I've got to take 5 million classes, I've got to publish in research, I've got to blah, 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 blah. We put all these pressures on ourselves, all these expectations. We create a losing equation. We put ourselves in a position where we cannot possibly win. And then we wonder why we're anxious. Well, we're anxious because we can look at the board. It's like in checkers. I've been playing checkers with my kids. You look at the checkerboard, and my kids get all mad and want to storm the board because I'm like, Daddy's whooping that butt in these checkers. They see they can't win. And that's what happens with you guys sometimes. You guys stack the deck against yourself and then wonder why you're anxious. Oh man, why am I so anxious? Well, I enrolled in 6 classes. I got anatomy and physio. I got a calculus class. I got a physics class. Oh, and I'm telling myself I'm going to get all A pluses. It's not realistic, right? We have these unrealistic expectations, and we have an unhealthy form of perfectionism. What I want you guys to do is shift your mentality and come over to my world of perfectionism as a self-proclaimed perfectionist, okay? I am a perfectionist. If you see me, I will say it every day of the week. I am a perfectionist, but I am in fact the ultimate perfectionist because I have perfected perfectionism. Are you guys ready? And I want you guys to take this to you. Take this to note. I seek perfection every single day. I seek it. I want to be perfect every single day. That is my standard, is perfection. But while that is my standard, I don't expect myself to be perfect. Do you guys see that switch there? I want, with everything I have, I put all the focus, all the effort in to be as perfect, to execute amazingly, to be as perfect as it can be. But I don't expect myself to be perfect. And by doing that, guys, it's very, very powerful. It sounds very simple, but it's very powerful because now what I can do is I can truly shoot for the moon every single day. I could say, man, I want to be the best today. I'm going to do it all. But then I expect myself to fall short of that. And the cool thing about this, and this is why it's a healthy version of perfectionism, is that we recognize if I shoot to overperform, if I shoot to over deliver, if I shoot to be the best version of myself, even if I fall short, right? You guys know the expression. If you shoot for the moon, even if you fall short, where do you land? Right in the stars. So I can feel good every single day knowing that if I try for perfectionist, but I don't get there, I'm still going to be better than the average student. And the way I quantify, again, my perfectionism, what does it mean to be perfect? I, in fact, think that most of my days go perfect. And the reason I say that is because my gauge, and this is important, we're breaking this down. Follow me right now. Say, yes, Dr. P, I'm following you. Comment in the box right now if you're following me. When I set these expectations, like I said, I set it, but I don't expect to be perfect. And then I change what my frame of reference is of what perfect is. For so many of you guys as students, your perfect is the outcome. Did I get the A? Did I finish the assignment with glowing colors? It's the outcome. For me, I've pivoted. Perfection for me is reflected in action. So perfection is not the outcome. Perfection is the action. So I call perfect when I'm putting my best action forward. Did I do the best I could do today? And that's extremely powerful, especially someone like me coming from being a disadvantaged student who didn't know what it was to sit in college. I sucked. I was a terrible, no good student. It was extremely powerful to shift what my perfection was because I couldn't be the best student in the classes right away that first day. But I could be perfect if my gauge was that I'm going to be my best self. And that's different because early on, my abilities, I was a bad reader. I was disorganized. I was a master procrastinator, right? I was enrolled in too many classes, I was doing way too much to get way too little. And so because of that, I didn't have the skill set. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the experiences to be the best student. But I said to myself, I'm going to be the best student I can be today, and that's perfection. And if I do that, and every day I can go to sleep, put my head on my pillow, and feel good about I put forth my best effort, what's amazing is it goes from being an anxious thing to I'm excited. Because even though people are better than me, I'm excited because I'm my best today. And it turns out when you stack days like that, each day starts getting better. And so by Monday, I'm better. Tuesday, I'm better. By Friday, I'm like, whoo, I'm cooking with grease, y'all. And then it stacks and it stacks. And before long, you're not just being your best, but your best ends up being the best of everyone. And that's what it became. I dominated college 2 hours a day studying, going from being told I would never graduate college, never get into medical school, to dominating Stanford Medical School, graduating top of my class there, going on getting the anesthesia residency I want, crushing it in my anesthesia residency while working with all you knuckleheads, teaching you guys how to get into medical school, right? And then in my attending life, I just crush. Not because I'm trying to be the best of everybody, I'm trying to be my best. But it turns out when you put your best effort forward, when you condition yourself, when you grow every single day, your best becomes the best. Does that make sense to everybody? So it reduces our anxiety and simultaneously helps us become our best selves and ultimately the best of anyone involved. And that's what happened in my journey, and that's what happens for my students. And so I encourage you guys, stop setting unrealistic expectations, stop having unhealthy perfectionism, and switch and have super high expectations, have a healthy form of perfectionism where your perfectionism is not based on the outcome, but is based on the effort. And I'll further quantify this if you guys will allow me. We all want the A's, but it's hard. A's, right? Capital A stands capital A anxiety. When we focus on the A's, we get anxious. What I want you guys to focus on, I want you guys to recognize, I say it all the time, take it to mind. Straight A's aren't made in one day or in one way. Straight A's are made every day and in every way. And so if you think about that, that means that all I have to do is be an A student today. And if I put in A effort, A focus today, then I'm on track to be the A student and I can take pride about today. And I don't have to be anxious about the A because I know the A is coming because I was an A student today. I was executing. All right. You guys with me? That's 1 of 6. We're already at 15 minutes, but you guys with me? Who's having fun? Who's glad to see me back on this here YouTube and social media? You guys know I got the podcast live action for you guys as well. This is the Premed Productivity Show, the Premed Productivity Podcast. If you guys are enjoying this stuff, please leave comments, leave reviews. Let me know you guys are enjoying what this is, y'all. Okay. The second thing, the second big cause of anxiety for students. And again, when I get to your cause of anxiety, shout it out. Say, Dr. P, that me. So that way other students can see they're not the only one who suffers from that. The second thing is negative past experiences. I call it academic PTSD. How many of you guys have been so bad, so disappointing, so filled with regret for so long that every single time you try to do better and be better, you freeze up? Oh, all the pain of 1,000 years of sorrows and sucky studying rises from the grave and takes over your soul, right? How many of you guys feel that grip of your past experiences and your past shortcomings holding you back? Who feels it? Right? Jashan says, definitely me, right? That past experience PTSD. We have to break that, guys. It's like, it's kind of interesting. And let me lay this out for you how it works. We have a track record of poor performance as students. Oh, I didn't do well on the test. Oh, I struggled with the assignment. Oh, my teacher said my essay was terrible. Oh, we go on and on and on. Oh, I went up to that presentation and I stumbled through it. We have all these bad negative experiences. And those bad negative experiences play like I call it a low light reel, right? We have a highlight reel on SportsCenter. This is the low light reel of academics. We run through all the low points of our career in our minds. And then when we get to a moment where we have an opportunity to go through that same thing, to study, to take a test, to give a presentation, all those moments come back in full live color, and that's all you can see. And as a result, what do we do when we feel something is negative, when we feel something hurts, something's painful? What do we do, right? If you put your hand on a hot stove, what do? You withdraw your hand. And for many of us, right, and who is this? Soft Sabal said, I self-sabotage. There you go. When we feel the pain of our past shortcomings, we withdraw, we avoid, we procrastinate, right? We are inactive. We don't take action. And it's crazy because what we don't recognize is we have these past failures, we feel negative about them, we withdraw and don't take effective action, and then that results in what? Another failure. So it's the self-fulfilling prophecy of that past failure PTSD. It's got us in a grip, and it just is a vicious cycle that amplifies it. Every single time you fail, you put yourself up, more failure, more failure, more failure, and it just builds up this huge cloud of failure, and it destroys your academic career. So we have to break free from that. And there's a couple techniques that I want you guys to practice. The very first thing that I want you guys to do is that I want you guys to have compassion for yourself. I mentioned earlier about how school is for schooling, and you guys are students because you are a student to the teacher. You are there to learn and grow as a person in your skills, in your emotional quotient, right? Your emotional IQ, in your intellectual, all the things. You're trying to grow as a person. We have to give ourselves grace to do that. We have to recognize that all the stumbles, all the things that have happened, that isn't us. That isn't our full potential. And one of my favorite quotes, I'm not going to butcher the quote, but it's by Alfred Bennett. And he was actually the inventor of the IQ test. And I love it because it's like a weird juxtaposition, because here you have a guy who invented the IQ test. And one of the quotes he says, he's like, oh man, that IQ test, kind of mixed feelings about it, because so many people took it to mean that when you take this test and you get the number, that is your IQ. And that is how smart you are. And what it was meant to be was a marker, is a guidepost to tell you how smart you are right now. Not how smart you are or could be, but how smart you are right now. And so for you guys as students, when you fail, when you've had this low light reel, I want you guys to understand and say, dang, those are some bad experiences. But don't label yourself as the failure. Tell yourself that is the old me. I can create right here, right today with my work, I can create a new me, a new future, a new person who's successful and not that failure. Tell yourself that. Say, listen, I can be different. I am not my failure. I am more than my failure. I am my future. Hopefully with a white coat on, right? That's what we want to say to ourselves. And then when we say that, we give ourselves that separation, that grace. What that opens up the opportunity to do, now we've separated ourselves from the failure. So we are not the failure. It now creates an opportunity where we are a third person viewing that failure. And so we can critique, we can analyze and critique and learn from that failure. It's not about critiquing ourselves or blaming ourselves because we're separate. We're not that failure anymore. That was an old failure. So now we're just an observer looking at it, learning from it so we can create a new future. Does that make sense? Because it hurts sometimes like, oh, well, it wasn't my fault. It was a teacher. Because we are tied up in it. But if we separate ourselves and say, no, the failure is that and I'm a different person, we can then attack that failure and learn from it. And if you guys do this reflection and you do this analysis, you do this critiquing of the failure, what you'll find is it's very easy to identify why you failed. How many of you guys after a term know exactly why the term didn't go well? You can pinpoint it. Oh, it was that. Oh, I just didn't pay enough attention. I didn't do this. Oh, I skipped those couple days. I was feeling sick, right? All those things. You can pinpoint it. And so that's what I want you guys to do with all these lowlights that are so fresh in your mind. I want you to take them and I want you to tear them apart. I want you to break them down and say, oh, you know what? I got an F. Well, am I an F student or did I miss the first week of classes? Did I not have a book? Was I focusing my attention on some other class? Was I overextending my extracurriculars and so forth? So we look at it and we can break those failures down and we can be more than those failures and use that past not to be held down, but to actually lift ourselves up and to elevate from that failure, to rise, to propel ourselves, to be fueled by the failure instead of held down by it. Does that make sense to everybody? Like this video, comment right now. Let me know you understand what I'm saying to you and I'm hitting the node for you guys. That you understand that those past experiences, they hold us back from who we need to be and who we want to be. Can I have a sip of water? Can I take a second? Who's still with me? 22 minutes in. Can we keep going? Oh, I'm glad you're glad to see me back. I'm glad to be back, y'all. I took exactly 3 months off of social media, and it was everything I thought it could be. It was glorious. It was amazing. But I do miss, I got my fix. I have my students all the time. I do coaching every week, right? My internal students who are my courses and my coaching. But it's nice sometimes to get out here because I know some of you guys are out here and you listen to busters and bozos on this here internet. And so it's nice sometimes to get somebody who's A, been through it myself, but B, and actually even more importantly, is I've taken what I've learned from me and then I've applied it effectively to other students for over a decade, almost 2 decades now. I've been working with students in pre-med to help them get to their goals. And so it's great, I feel, for you guys to have someone to come onto YouTube and do not a 20-second short, but to actually get on here and do 20 minutes with you guys, teaching you, getting into the nitty-gritty and getting the details to help you guys elevate and improve. So we'll do one more day. We'll split our 6. We'll do one more because this took a little longer than I thought it would. But it's good, right? It's good to get information. It's good to have some actionable stuff for you guys. If you want a ton more of this, like I said, my new course, Overcoming Academic Performance Anxiety, is available. I'm going to put the link in the description. Limited time discount because it's just launching right now. It's brand new. I just filmed it this weekend. And so I want you guys to have all the goodness, all the information you could ever want about performance anxiety and how to conquer your anxiety, your test anxiety, your presentation anxiety, so forth. All right, so the third and final one we're going to cover today, there's 3 more we'll do next time, is social pressures. Social pressure. It comes in the form of peer pressure and non-peer pressure. How many of you guys feel social pressure from your peers? You feel pressure to be perfect because everyone else says, oh, I didn't even study, I just got it. You feel pressure from your peers. How many of you guys, right, you feel the competitive edge? How many of you guys feel pressure from your parents, the other P, right? You must do this. You must do this. How many of you guys feel pressure from your community, from your broader community? Like, I'm the one, I got to help, all stuff. We have all this social pressure that creates It's not truly, uh, it's manufactured. It's not real. It's just how we perceive it. And with these social pressures, I think it's so important that you guys understand. We're gonna break each one of these down for you guys. The very first thing is peer pressure. I can't tell you how many times students tell me, oh, well, so-and-so has this. Well, so-and-so has this. And so-and-so has this. And right? It's like, come on. Yes, other people may have stuff you don't have. Other people may have an advantage over you. You may be the disadvantaged student. But you have to recognize, like I said earlier, you're not in competition with them. Remove them from the equation by recognizing that you are only in competition with who you were yesterday. And that you're trying to be your best each and every day. And if you do that, and every day you become best better, you will get there. Additionally, a lot of times we feel like we're the only one going through it. And that's why I love doing group coaching, because in my community, everyone can be like, no, I'm there. I feel you. I recognize I've been there, blah, blah. And so people, it's like a huge weight. All that anxiety is lifted because you recognize that everyone else is going through it too. And I can honestly tell you, someone who's worked with students, like I said, for 20 years, you think you're the only one having your problem, your issue, your concern, but I can guarantee you right now, I got at least 10 students experiencing that. It is not the first time I've ever heard it. It is not unique. Other people are experiencing it too. So recognize, take that off of yourself of saying, I'm the only one. Lots of people are going through it. Lots of people are going through it. And a lot of people have overcome it before, and you can overcome it too. But you have to believe you can overcome it. You got to stop comparing, stop competing with other people, and start focusing on yourself. Additionally, here's the change we're going to make. For many of you guys, this competition, this need to match up to your peers, to look smart to your peers, keeps you from being smart. Listen to me, right? It's like we hear people talk about this in personal finance. Like, oh, like, you want to look rich, you want to be rich, right? You want to look rich, you wear all your stuff in your club, blah, blah, blah. Like, you look at the richest people in the world, they wear the same 5 t-shirts. You want to look rich, you want to be rich. The same applies for academics. Do you want to look smart or do you want to be smart? Do you want to look like an A student or do you want to actually be an A student? Because the sad thing is, when you go to apply to medical school, the truth will come out. Oh, snap, you get straight Fs? I never knew. You always said you knew everything. Oh, I was faking the funk, y'all. It's going to come out in the end. So I would much rather look dumb to my classmates and to my peers and look smart to medical schools than look smart to my peers and in the end get rejected. And so the change you're going to make is, for many of you guys, that fear keeps you from asking the questions you need, both of your peers and also of your instructors. How many of you guys sit in lecture, you're confused, but you don't want to ask a question because you don't want to inconvenience the class, slow things down. You don't want to look dumb by asking a question that maybe someone else understands. No. When I wanted to turn my academic career around, one of the first things I started doing was going to those smart students and saying, hey, you're smart, I'm dumb. That's okay, laugh at me. Please teach me how you're smart. And what's amazing is we live in this society where people want to feel smart. So guess what they did? They taught me how to be smart just like them. They gave me all their little tricks. And then I took their tricks and I combined it with this A student's tricks and that A student's tricks. And guess what? I was 3 times as smart as any of them. Because I was willing to say, I'm dumb, you're smart, teach me. And so I went from looking dumb to all of a sudden, they couldn't figure it out. How's he setting the curve? This guy was dumb. I was teaching him. I was tutoring him a minute ago. And now all of a sudden he's setting the curve. That's how quickly it's switching. And nobody wants to talk to you all of a sudden. It's lonely at the top when you get an A's, baby. I'm okay with that, right? But we recognize I don't need anybody. I'm here for myself. But we have to start asking those questions of our peers. How are you doing this? How are you doing this? Teach me, teach me, teach me. We also have to reach to our instructors. Go to office hours. Ask bad questions. Go to lecture. Ask bad questions. Don't be afraid to go to your professor and say, listen, I'm wholly confused. It's not your fault. It's my fault. I'm not following. Will you teach me? You'd be surprised, guys. There's a lot of compassionate educators out there. A lot of people just like me who love to teach. You know, when I'm working with residents, medical students, like, hey, listen, Dr. Pinesett, I know this is kind of a dumb question. What are you talking about? I'm like, no, it's not dumb. Let's get some paper out. Let's draw it out. Let's do it. I love that. Like getting in there and getting the nitty gritty of it. True educators, we love to educate. We love to teach. And so ask those questions because we want the opportunity. We long for the opportunity to teach you something. So do that. In terms of, that was the peer pressure, right, against your cohort. The next set of pressure we talked about was parental pressure. Throw your culture in the box right now, right? Everybody thinks their culture is the only culture with the parental pressure. Oh, you gotta understand, I'm this. Or you gotta understand, Dr. Pinesett, I'm this. It's just different. And I'm like, every single culture has that. Every single culture, including some cultures you wouldn't believe. The black culture, for example. A lot of people look at blacks as underachieving. True or false, who cares? But a lot of people look like, oh, black people don't have any pressure. They're not expected to succeed. But what happens is, and this is something it's been coming up a lot actually for a lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes, and they talk about this survivor's remorse. Have you guys heard about this? Survivor's remorse? And this is the way that pressure plays out in minority communities, in low income, disadvantaged communities. It plays out because when you are the student who's excelling, right? When you are the student who is outperforming everyone, then everyone looks to you as like an elevator, that you're going to lift everybody up. And so it becomes like a reverse pressure thing where it's like, no, you're the one, you're going to save us all. You're going to become the doctor, and then, oh, you're going to become the athlete, you're going to save us all. And what happens is it becomes all this pressure to be like, man, if I got the weight of everybody on my back. If I don't make it happen, if I'm not perfect, then nobody gets to rise up. And now you're carrying pressure for 19 characters instead of just worrying about yourself. And so what I want you guys to understand is your parents may tell you to be perfect. Your parents may tell you need to be better, and they may say it in harsh ways and hurt your feelings. You may feel pressured. I want you to know, as a father myself, your parents put pressure on you. Your parents talk crazy to you because they love you more than anything in this whole world. And all they want in their whole hearts, everything else is secondary. The only thing that matters to them the most in their lives is your happiness, is your success. And that's why they push so hard. Truly. My kids are young, elementary school, and I'm still on their butts. I'm like, come on. I be getting crazy sometimes, but it's because I love them more than I love myself, y'all. And I want everything for them. I want the whole world for them. And so when I see an opportunity for them to be better, I'm like, come on, you got this. This is your world. You're incredible. Don't you see? I'm trying to shake them. Not because I hate them. Not because I want to see them fail. Not because I want them to feel nervous. I want them to feel great. I want them to feel happy. I want them to succeed. But it's just a side effect, right? We feel that pressure. So I want you guys to know that. Picture me being your parent. Put your parent's face right here. Photoshop it in, right? Use some of the AI stuff. I love you. I care about you. I want the best for you. Anything you need, come to me. That's what your parents would say if they could articulate it effectively. So recognize that parental pressure you feel, it's not real, y'all. It's just love. It's just the warm embrace of a parent who would do anything for you. Okay? The third pressure we talked about, right, is this societal pressure. So for a lot of people, like I hear this all the time, well, they said I had to do this. They said that. They're doing that. They. This societal pressure, this mythical creature that's just telling you, feeding you information. We got like all these forums and whatever. I hate these forums, SDN, Reddit. Why? Because you got a bunch of theys, a bunch of anonymous characters out there putting potentially harmful, potentially anxiety-inducing ideas into your head that are going to make you feel less than. How many of you guys go on SDN and you see this post from these trolls? Hey, just checking in to see what my chances are. 4.5 GPA, 528 MCAT, 19 publications, already have my doctorate, cured cancer. Will the medical school accept me? And then you start to feel like trash because you're like, wait a minute, I don't have a 4.5 GPA. I didn't know a 4.5 GPA was possible, right? You start to feel bad about yourself. And so it becomes this thing that circles the drain of like, oh, they're doing this. They're doing so much. They're doing so much and I'm not doing so much. Stop that. My most successful students got successful because they stopped worrying about they and these mythical creatures in society and started focusing on what mattered to them. For me, like I said, at every single stage of my journey, people have hated on me. People have told me that I'm doing the wrong thing, what I'm not supposed to be doing, and so forth. But they say that because that's what they's is doing and everybody's is doing. I'm about me and what I want to do and what matters to me and what will make me effective. And by doing that and focusing on me and not focusing on they, it's incredible, guys. It's incredible. I enjoyed everything more. I succeeded more because it was about me and what mattered to me and what my focus was. So I just want to encourage all of you guys, break free from all that pressure. It's just about you being happy and being the best student you can be, guys. That's what it's about. Okay, can we stop there? We're at 35 minutes. We've gotten through 3 of the causes of academic performance anxiety. We've got 3 more. We'll get to them next time. If you guys don't know, I'm Dr. Andre Pinesett, the Premed Productivity Expert. I'm going to be live action with you guys every Monday, every Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you've enjoyed this, take a second, like this video. If I hit on one of your points of anxiety, take a second and comment and say, hey, Dr. P, I'm number 1, I'm number 2, I'm number 3. Shall I recap them for you real quick? Number 1, unrealistic expectations and unhealthy perfectionism. Number 2, negative past experiences. And number 3, all the social pressures. If you struggle with any one of those guys, let me know in the box. And I got 3 more for you guys next time. We're going to hit. I'm going to get some strategies. I hope this was helpful to you. Thank you guys so much. Share this with someone who you know is struggling right now, who's going through it. Be the support beacon they need by sharing this good information. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. How do we always end? No excuses, just dominate, guys. And in this case, your excuse is your anxiety. We got to move past that anxiety. We got to attack that anxiety so that we can get to the domination that is there for us. Everybody, appreciate you. See you next time. That's it for another episode. Show your love by smashing the like button and commenting in the box below. Today is the day, guys. No more excuses, no more complaining. You're going to take your future into your own hands. You're going to dominate. You're going to be successful. I challenge you. What are you going to do today to make your life better? Get to my website, premedproductivity.com. Grab a free ebook. Sign up for a free webinar. And if you're really ready to transform, enroll in one of my life-changing courses or coaching programs. You have greatness inside you. Let me show you how to unlock it so you can dominate and make your dreams a reality. No excuses, just dominate.